All right, good afternoon. I'll call this meeting to order. Chair Price is out of town, so I will be chairing for today. And let's start with roll call, please, Sebastian.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Let's see, Ed Lopez,
Present.
Gary Johns,
Present.
Carolyn Schofield,
Present.
David Harris,
Here.
Matthew Vasilakis,
Here.
and I see Jen is in the attendee section. Jen?
Here. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. And Vice Chair Hammond,
Present. Thank you.
of course.
Do we have any public comment for non-agenda items?
So we are instituting a different method for public comment based on the feedback we received at the last board meeting. We had folks, if they wanted to submit a written public comment, we're still using the form. But right now, Vice Chair, you can entertain public comments by having people in attendance raise their virtual hand.
Okay, anyone in attendance interested in making a public comment? If so, please raise your hand. I'm not seeing any, are you?
No, I am not.
Okay. Item number 4 on our agenda, items to be withdrawn, reordered on the agenda. Does anyone have any recommendations here? Doesn't look like it. We are going to have a short and sweet meeting today. All right. Shall we jump in, or do we need to formally approve the agenda?
No.
Okay. All right. General updates from community advisory members.
I'll provide a little bit of a forefront on this. Obviously, this month and last month have been very busy for SCCP staff. You know, we have a big date coming up that I'm sure you'll have heard about, which would be our March 1st launch. So with that, you know, things are a little bit more quiet on the CAC front, but we do have an ad hoc committee for the work plan scheduled, I believe, next week. So things will definitely pick up in the next month and so forth. I had a conversation with Chair Price, and he suggested having this item to allow you all to provide a more robust update on what's going on in your communities in terms of communications on community choice or anything else. I believe I mentioned this via an email that I shared with you all, that the committee member announcement section in our agenda allows some portion of that, but it's those comments have to be more brief. So this allows you all more time, more flexibility to provide those general comments to all of you and to me as well. I also wanted to mention that we have, I will be inviting both of our Director of Power Resources, who just started this past Monday, as well as our Director of Regulatory and Legislative Affairs to attend our meeting next month. We were thinking about having them come this month, but seeing as Chair Price was absent, I wanted to make sure that we had a full house. So just giving you a heads up on that, as you have a chance to meet them, ask them any questions, and have them be a resource to you as we continue to build on, bring in more staff. So I'll pause for there, but I just wanted to provide that introduction to this item, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Sebastian. Does anybody have any updates you'd like to share, community updates, after hearing the background on this agenda item? Quiet bunch today.
Well,
Okay,
I'm not shy. Okay, wait a minute. Somebody raised, I think Carolyn raised her hand. So did Matthew.
All right, Carolyn.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, meeting with the Sustainability Commission, and I got some questions about net metering and also feed-in tariff. And so one question that I have about net metering is the PCIA fee. So if you have solar and you're doing net metering, do you pay the PCIA fee only on the balance of power that you use? So let's say you don't use any power because you use it all from solar 1 month. You pay no PCIA fee because of your solar, I'm assuming.
So it's my understanding with net metering that you do not pay an exit fee. You're still an SDG&E customer. And depending on when you went solar, the first agreement for anyone in San Diego SDG&E's territory that went solar through June 29th, 2016 is under net metering 1.0, where you had a one-to-one credit every time you exported energy to the grid and took energy from the grid. Net metering 2.0, that went into effect June 29th, 2016 through at least the end of the year, maybe early next year. You pay what are called non-bypassable charges. So those are fees that all ratepayers pay, and solar customers do incur those, and that's paying their fair share on the grid. But it's my understanding there is no additional exit fee that solar customers pay with net metering currently.
So once San Diego Community Power starts, will that continue with us?
Solar customers will be subjected to the same exit fees as non-solar customers. Everyone gets defaulted, right? If you stay with San Diego Community Power at that time, then solar customers would be paying the exit fee as well.
So what do they pay the exit fee on? Because I think at the last meeting where we had a presentation about it, it was on the balance of energy used.
No.
So
Right. Yeah,
that-
you would be subject to the energy you use when your independent system is not generating. So when you pull from the grid, that's when you're subject to the PCIA.
Okay, and not having
Okay.
solar panels, I don't know how much interplay there is between how much pulling from the grid and then going back and forth. How much does that happen? Like,
It's going to completely depend on every household, every business is different.
Gotcha.
Solar power system sizes are different. So that system sizes should be based on usage. With net metering 2.0 and now 3.0 that's being discussed, everyone's on time of use rate. So it's not just how much you're consuming, it's when you're consuming as well. Okay. So it becomes a lot more complicated. If you have energy storage, you're able to store your solar into the battery, and that's then at nighttime when your solar is not producing, you can pull from the battery instead of pulling from the grid. So it is going to vary case by case. There's not a simple answer, but a solar company might be able to do an analysis for you.
Okay. And then I'm wondering, I couldn't find net metering or feed-in tariff on the website. And one of the things our commissioners told me is that the feed-in tariff program is really important to educate about, because that's not something that SDG&E has. And so I was wondering, because that's one of our, wow, this is a really incredible benefit from San Diego Community Power. But I don't know if there's any place for people to get information about it. And I don't mean detailed information, because I know that we don't have that yet. But I'm thinking just a general on maybe FAQs, hey, solar owners, this is what it is. This is what's coming, feed-in tariff, and we're details later, but this is the main idea of what it is.
Yeah, I was wrong about the last one, but I think I'm right about this. If you're a homeowner with solar on your roof, you're probably not going to be doing feed-in tariff.
Okay.
Am I right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, if you're under an existing NEM arrangement, you would not qualify for the FIT program. But Carolyn, I do believe there is a section in our FAQs that talks about the feed-in tariff.
Okay, I'll look back then. So I
Um,
refer people.
but you and I can definitely touch base. What staff is doing now is that we're building up how the program will look like, and so more details to come. But in terms of the structure, when applications will be open, etc., we're working on that.
So it's primarily for commercial? Then it's not for residential?
It could be for both, but traditionally it would be more like a commercial type of arrangement.
Okay, so that's really, it's really important. Okay, that's.
There is, if you haven't seen it, there's some base information at the CPUC website on the tariff and the program, and it starts broadly reviewing it and then actually provides links to each of the IOU and how they implement the tariff program. I can, if you'd like, I can send the link around later.
Okay. And I think, and then my last question is it, when it says that school districts are rolling out now, is that correct?
A few, that's correct.
So does that mean the district building itself, or does that mean all the school buildings too? All the different school sites?
So it varies. So for example, within one building, you may have different accounts, and depending on the structure of those accounts, they're part of the phase 1 enrollment, or they're part of the phase 2 enrollment.
Okay.
Yeah, what we're doing is enrolling those simple accounts and we're, as you guys know, we've been working with SDG on the SDG&E on this, and we're having those simple accounts so things go smoothly, and then come phase 2, then more of the complex accounts will be enrolled.
Yeah, I'm working with some high school students. I'm actually meeting with some high school students and their teacher later today in their environmental club. And I was curious to know if at their school site, of course, they're not there physically, but we're hoping maybe even within, 6 weeks or something. It depends on what happens with COVID. But I'm hoping to at least, get some enthusiasm and say, this might be happening, but it looks like we'll have to check with the district to see also.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else to keep in mind is that a lot of these large commercial users are under a direct access type of arrangement with a third party. And so that would be separate from service that we would be providing. We don't touch those. So just something else to keep in mind, that some customers may be mostly relying on that type of arrangement. They may have a few accounts that would be eligible for CCA service, and those we are happy to work with.
Okay, yeah, because we're so we have some plans for March 1st, but they're very scaled down because of COVID. But we're going to be get more involved when it comes to June 1st for commercial. So this is sort of a little practice, but we're going to do some screenshots. I'm hoping to get some screenshots today with the students and their teacher, possibly with the logo, or some of them might have the logo. We'll see what happens, just to post for this first time around.
Well, thank you for your efforts and those questions. I know Gary was next in the queue. I see Matthew's hands raised. Matthew, was it in response to anything Carolyn said, or would you like to be in the queue after Gary? Okay, Gary, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say that, I haven't had a lot of contact. Sebastian asked us about communications we've had, or what we're perceiving as the understanding of SDCP. And I have to say that, I haven't talked to anybody. So it's almost like a non-answer. And so I was just really interested to see what other people have been doing as far as interacting with the community.
Well, maybe Matthew's hand was raised. Maybe he has an answer for you since I don't see anyone else directly responding.
Sounds good.
All right, go ahead, Matthew.
Sorry, I'm processed. So the question was like, what are folks doing to engage with the community on this? Well, actually, this kind of leads into what I wanted to bring up, which is right now there's a series of, in San Diego, there's a series of forums going on about the franchise agreement, which we've discussed it at our body here, the city's electric and gas franchise agreements. And so what I've noticed is that there's a lot of public conflating about like what this is and what community choice is, and a lot of questions what Carolyn brought up about like, well, how's this going to impact my solar, and how do I fit into this whole thing. So my comment was less of an update, more of just like when we get to phase 3, or as we're headed to phase 3 between 2 and 3, we may need to have like specific community forums on like, are you a solar owner? Are you a commercial solar owner? Are you, somebody who's, interested in converting your home into, an all, I don't know. There's just a lot of information that needs to be disseminated. And obviously we're going to want to focus on the high level rollout and, ensuring that customers are staying in the program, which I think just cost wise, intuitively, they're going to do that. But we want to make sure we're selling the program too. But there may need to be some more robust like community engagement, just because a lot of folks can't tell the difference between SDG&E or SDCP. So that's one opportunity. I don't have any specific strategies in terms of like, my own advocacy work. We'll go to community planning groups. We'll talk to various town councils and businesses. We host our own events to talk about these things, partner, do an annual forum. So those could be opportunities in other cities. I envy the position of being able to represent Imperial Beach or Encinitas. You guys are much more manageable in size and geography than San Diego, but I also understand like, we got to figure this out together. So, and then sideline from the San Diego specific updates, but the county this week passed they're going to move forward with a plan to streamline review for renewable energy projects in the unincorporated areas. So that's just something to think about as, SDCP talks about, what do our RFPs look like? Who do we want to contract with for potential future power? And then today at Sandag, one of the county board of supervisors brought up the fact that he would really like Sandag staff, our transportation agency, planning agency, to really think hard and long about where we're going to be getting this clean power to power our electric vehicles and our transit system. So the county's thinking about this a lot, and as we talk about expanding the program and looking at the jurisdictions, there just seems to be some pretty cool alignment going on there. So those are my updates for now, and I wish I had a better answer, Gary. I apologize.
Thank you, Matthew. Go ahead, Ed.
Thank you. Well, I also don't have a response per se and in direct reply, but I have had conversations, particularly in the wake of the Board of Supervisors action and the story that highlighted it, as to community-based organizations within the city of San Diego, particularly in disadvantaged neighborhoods or DACs, disadvantaged communities, whether there would be opportunity, facilitation, and support from San Diego Community Power to launch and help develop some renewable energy projects that again could serve audiences or customers or just communities and neighborhoods that still face challenges to accessing green and renewable energy. And so I'm aware that some community-based organizations, in other words, nonprofits, have already been trying to partner with other institutions like San Diego Unified or like UCSD, and have been attempting to secure some funding from programs administered by either the CPUC or the CEC to again help foster the development of such projects that also include microgrids So I know that's a very hot topic here within the region. UCSD has been a very willing partner to try to showcase its microgrid innovations and how they might be applicable to urban neighborhoods. And then energy storage. It escapes me the particulars, but I think one of the largest energy storage projects is currently being developed down in Otay Mesa. So I think there's a hotbed, if you will, here locally, and an opportunity for San Diego Community Power to try to work with a number of partners to see if there's some innovative and creative projects that could be supported.
Oh, thank you, Ed, for that comment. Just wanted to provide a quick update on the pursuit of renewable energy projects within what the state defines as the disadvantaged communities, but communities of concern for us. We have been pursuing that. We've had conversations with SDG&E on making that a reality. There's some steps and processes that we have to go through at the PUC in order to receive an allocation of megawatt usage. So we're active on that and trying to pursue it and have it in time for the launch of phase 3, because under that program, it's called the DAC GT Disadvantaged Community Green Tariff and then Community Solar Green Tariff programs. Those are only eligible for residential customers. So it's a slow moving train, but it's begun moving. So just wanted to provide that quick update.
Ed, your hand's still raised. Do you have anything else? Okay, David. You are still muted, David.
Thanks, Tara. I had a few questions for Sebastian about the logistics around the launch and whether what there's certain events scheduled and whether the Community Advisory Committee will be invited to these events. Then second question is, have the presentations for the various city councils been scheduled yet? The ones that Civilian talked about in their academy training?
That is a great question, David. And I have an email that's sitting in my inbox to be sent to all of you with that information. So a resounding yes.
Oh, okay. To both questions.
Yes, yeah. We the next couple of weeks will be a little bit busy. But yeah, we will be sharing that information with you all on when those presentations. So for those of you that weren't part of the Community Power Academy that we held with several of you, we are going to each city council to provide an update on community choice and SCCP. Many of those city councils have not received an update on CCA since they joined us back in mid to late 2019, more in the later part of 2019. So this will provide those two fronts, a general update, as well as letting them know what we're doing for the launch of phase 1.
Thanks, Sebastian. David, did you have any other questions? No. Okay, Gary?
Not right now.
Well, yeah, I'm very interested in that. What would be an appropriate thing for me to do when you present at Encinitas? I can think of some things like at the Encinitas City Council meetings, they take the general public comment. Well, actually, it's probably after presentations, but before any business. And I can imagine speaking, for 3 minutes in reference to the presentation. introducing myself as a advisory committee member for Encinitas, et cetera. I'd like to look beyond that. Are there other, I'm looking for some marching orders here about, attempts to communicate with the appropriate people. And of course, the rollout is for the, I'll say civic organizations.
Yeah, Gary.
Sebastian, I'm going to defer to you. I don't know if
I think there's a delay there. Yeah, Gary, let's touch base offline on more concrete steps on the presentations and beyond. I think now that we're getting closer to the March 1st launch, and once we get out of the way, we can certainly put in those marching orders that you're asking for and get you all engaged on different fronts. So I hear you loud and clear, and I'll make sure to utilize your volunteer efforts. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
All right, any other updates or questions on this item? Not seeing any. All right, should we move on to the next item, which is discussion of potential agenda items for the board meeting? Does anyone have anything to suggest that we ask Eddie to put on the board meeting agenda? Yes, David.
I just thought of something. Yes, I don't know if it's appropriate for the next meeting, but I was thinking about the County of San Diego and their new goal of reaching zero carbon by 2035, and their renewed interest in joining a community choice energy program, according to people I spoke with. And so I wanted to see at what point we might agendize that for the board, maybe to start discussions with the county, or if that's even appropriate for the Community Advisory Committee. Any thoughts on that from any of the members?
Yeah, I would say Eddie can certainly, or in this case, it would be Vice Chair Hammond providing a report to the board and just letting the board know again of the interest, if you all agree, to mention that again. I know that the organization right now is focused on phase 1, but certainly thinking about expansion opportunities once that occurs. So that would be my suggestion for now, and see where things go.
David, would you be open to us making a recommendation for the next board meeting just because of the launch? And then it's my understanding there might be other conversations happening internally with the county and San Diego Community Power. But I think in general, it'd be nice for us to know the next steps when a city is interested in joining, because I've spoken with someone in Oceanside who said, hey, we're ready. Bill Carnahan last week told us that, or at the last meeting, that they just want to focus on the launch first. But I think it would be good for us to know the process when a city is interested in joining and how we help navigate or put people in touch with the appropriate people.
Great. I think that's a good way to approach it broadly with any city or the county.
Okay. Thank you for that recommendation. Gary, I did see your hand was raised, but it went down. Did you have anything to add?
I'll just, since the organization I'm primarily tied in with is Sierra Club, I'll just tell you what their position is. They want to encourage the county to look at the two existing CCAs rather than joining with anybody else or going alone to form a third one. So I think, from a parochial standpoint, advocating to the Board of Supervisors to join SDCP is, I'll say, consistent with that position.
Okay. Any other comments? Any other suggestions for items for the board meeting? All right, not seeing any. We'll move on to item 7, committee member announcements. Do we have any announcements? Gary, what do you got?
I was shaking my head. No, I have nothing.
I don't believe it.
I'm getting a bad reputation here.
No. Okay, no announcements? I'll invite everyone to an upcoming event on February 23rd. I may have mentioned it at the last meeting. It's a Climate Hub event in partnership with the San Diego Green New Deal Alliance, as well as a couple of other local organizations. Jobs in a Green Economy with Dr. Carol Zabin from UC Berkeley. And everyone is invited to attend. The event is posted online. I don't know if I am allowed to share that, but it's posted on Facebook if you search for it, Jobs in a Green Economy, February 23rd.
You're more than welcome to share that with everyone offline, Tara.
Okay. All right, any other announcements? All right, well, that is it for today. We will adjourn the meeting at 1:34. Short and sweet, and we're just a couple weeks out from the launch, which is super, super exciting. So thanks, Sebastian, for all you're doing to help make it happen, and thanks to this group. And Gary, I know you're anxious for us to start doing more. I feel like as the phase, so it's exciting. All right, thank you all. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.